lives through its variety of games, TV shows, and comics. And right now we are experiencing a phase where all three areas are reaching a huge peak at the same time, and they are shining with success. But long before today's IDW comics, there were the famous Archie Sonic the Hedgehog comics. They started in 1993 at Archie Comics and ran with several breaks and reboots until 2017. Over the years, the art style changed many times because many different artists and writers worked on the series, which gave it a very inconsistent but also experimental feel. From 1993 to 2006, one man worked on these comics who is still considered one of the most controversial figures in Sonic's history. We're talking about Ken Penders. Or Kenneth W. Penders II? Yeah. You may have heard his name before, but why is he avoided by large parts of the Sonic community? And who is he actually? Before Ken Penders became well known in the comic industry, he already had a lot of professional experience. He worked as a technical illustrator for the US Air Force, as a graphic designer in an engineering office, and even as a t-shirt screen printer at the age of 16. His first professional comic work appeared in the mid-80s. During that time, he worked for DC Comics on titles such as Star Trek: The Next Generation, Captain Atom, as well for Marvel, Disney, Image Comics, and other publishers. He was clearly not an amateur. He was an established artist with real industry experience. In 1993, Penders joined the Archie Sonic comics and quickly became one of the main creative forces behind the series. He became especially well known for the Knuckles the Echidna spin-off and for his strong focus on long-term story arcs, mythology, and lore. Under his work, many new characters were created, including the entire Echidna clans, Knuckles' family such as Locke, Lara Lee, and Julie Sue. He created complex background stories that went far beyond what Sonic stories had been before. Over many years, Penders wrote and drew hundreds of pages and strongly shaped large parts of the Archie comics. However, behind the scenes, the collaboration became difficult. Many people later described Ken Penders as uncooperative and unpredictable. A major point of conflict was his desire to focus on the Sonic comics more and more on Echidna lore, while pushing Sonic himself into the background. This did not match the vision of Archie Comics or Sega. Both of them wanted Sonic to remain the clear main focus. These creative differences caused growing tension over the years. The last regular Sonic comic Ken Penders worked on was Sonic the Hedgehog issue 159 in 2006. This issue was released normally in stores. After that, Penders received no further work and his collaboration with Archie Comics ended. After his departure, things did not calm down. Between 2009 and 10, Ken Penders sued both Archie Comics and Sega. This was not about Penders versus Sonic or something, but about a much deeper question. Who actually owns the characters and stories Ken Penders created during his time at Archie? The core of the problem was a major contract failure. According to research, Archie Comics did not originally have proper contracts for many artists, including Penders. There was no signed agreement clearly stating that the characters he created automatically belonged to Archie. Penders had worked for years based on trust and had never formally given up his rights in writing. After leaving Archie, he began carefully reviewing his old work and realized that he had created dozens of characters, entire mythologies, and long story arcs without ever officially transferring the rights. His conclusion was simple: if we never signed anything, the characters belonged to him. From a legal perspective, this was not an unreasonable argument. Unfortunately, Penders took then a very aggressive step. He registered many of his Sonic-related characters with the US Copyright Office. The office only checks whether the applicant is the creator and whether there's a valid counter-evidence. Archie Comics could not provide such evidence in the form of contracts, so the copyrights were registered. Archie later responded by suing Penders in an attempt to reclaim the rights and secure continued use of the characters. However, the company could not present solid proof. The burden of proof was on Archie, and without contracts, the case collapsed. To this day, this is considered one of the biggest contract failures in modern comic history. The consequences for the Sonic comics were massive. Archie had to remove all the characters and storylines connected to Penders from the lore. Entire plotlines were erased or rewritten, which eventually led to a major reboot of the series. But even if one accepts that the legal situation was on Penders' side, the question remains: did he really have to treat these characters this way? What Penders did with his characters after the lawsuit shocked large parts of the community. A well-known example is Lara Sue, originally designed as a classic Mobian echidna. She was later transformed into a very humanoid and heavily sexualized character. This new version appeared in Penders' own comic series, the Lara Sue Chronicles, which began in 2010. I will spare you the details, but how and why does this exist? During my research, I came across several disturbing images. I honestly have no idea what the story is even about, and to be honest, I don't really want to know. Seriously? Wait, but is that supposed to be Knuckles? Questionable, but at the same time, yeah, not even close. That does not look like our Knuckles. I think Sega clearly distanced itself from this, which in my opinion was the smartest move. Legally it may still be barely acceptable, but visually it is very far away from what we think Sonic should look like. So you might think that would be the end of the story. Well, Ken Penders still does not let go. To this day, he regularly accuses Sega and IDW Comics of stealing ideas from him. For example, a fan once compared a screenshot from the second Sonic movie to one of Penders' old drawings. Because Sonic is flying on the tornado? This raises an obvious question. How many times has Sonic flown on the tornado throughout his history? By that logic, countless scenes would supposedly be inspired by Penders. A similar situation exists with the character Surge from the IDW comics. Even though the name sounds very similar to Scourge, Surge is clearly not based on that character. Surge is based on the Ashura glitch from Sonic 2, something that IDW writers have openly confirmed. This leads us to the final question. How does Ken Penders actually make money today? The answer is simple. He sells his comics. And it works pretty well. Many fans grew up with his art style and stories in the 90s. Nostalgia plays a huge role. Fans meet him at conventions, get autographs, and they thank him for his past work. No matter how critical people are of his later projects, his work still means something to many. He still works on several projects. His newest one seems to be a Lara Sue app. In the end, there is a bitter aftertaste. It is unfortunate that things did not end peacefully. The story surrounding Ken Penders is legally fascinating, creative, and extremely controversial, and on a human level often difficult to watch. How do you feel about this whole situation? Are you torn, or are you clearly on one side? Let me know in the comments, I would love to hear your thoughts. If there is something I missed on my Ken Penders video, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe for free and hit the bell so you won't miss any new content on my channel. Bye! Hi guys, it's Nishi in the end card. What? Just wanted to let you know that this is a new way of making a video. It took me a long time, about 3 weeks, because I wanted to do a very good research on everything about this person and I didn't want it to mess it up. So yeah, it took some time and it's a very long video, so I hope you liked it and see you in the next one. Bye!